The terrible towel, in reality, is just a piece of cloth with no special powers. But Myron Cope saw it differently.
He sure did. With his creation, Cope explained what the terrible towel can and cannot do.
Call it Cope's Creed. It's written on this terrible towel, and here's what it says in part.
It is not an instrument of witchcraft. It is not a hex upon the enemy. The towel is a positive force that lifts the Steelers to magnificent heights and poses mysterious difficulties for the Steelers' opponents only if need be.
But while the towel says it is not a hex, those mysterious difficulties have befallen the enemies who dare to desecrate the towel.
Here's Ryan Recker with those who dared to tempt fate and the price they paid.
400 Ardmore Boulevard, the home of WTAE TV and at one time WTAE Radio. And here in December of 1975, a pair of radio executives and Steelers commentator and radio host Myron Cope entered a meeting. Soon after, the creation of the terrible towel was in motion.
Well, in 1975, the last time that the Steelers had two playoff games at home, just prior to the first playoff game, a couple of vice presidents of our radio station, the two gents who ran the radio station, called me in and they said, Myron, we're the station that broadcasts the Steeler games, and we think it would be a great idea if you would come up with some kind of gimmick for the fans for the playoffs. And we think by so doing, and if this is very successful, you could demonstrate to the people and to the advertisers your influence with the public. So I said to them, I'm not a gimmick guy. I've never been a gimmick guy. And they said to me, your contract comes up for renewal in a few months. And I said, well, let me see if I can think of a gimmick. So I thought, what is portable? What does everybody have? What can be easily carried to the station? It's functional, you know, serve a purpose. And I thought everybody has towels. You could bring a towel to the stadium, wipe your seat with it, throw it around your neck for a muffler against the cold. You can drop it over your head if it rains. And I proposed that we urge people to bring a yellow or a gold or a black towel, Steeler colors, to the stadium. So the vice president sent out for champagne and we drank to the terrible towel, and it was immediately accepted enthusiastically by the public. But a few days later, Andy Russell, and he was the Steeler captain, you'll recall, he said to me, Myron, what is this nonsense about a terrible towel? That's a gimmick, and we're not a gimmick team. Well, that had a familiar ring to it, those words did. And he said, that terrible towel will jinx us. Well, right then and there, I could just see Russell, if the Steelers lost the game, blaming it all on a terrible towel jinxing the Steelers, and that would be a catastrophe for our station. So I decided to overcome his objection by taking a democratic poll of the Steelers squad, and I managed to get a majority for the terrible towel by bearing down particularly hard on backup little-known players who thought it would be useful to get a little publicity for a change. Anyhow, the terrible towel carried the vote. The Steelers went on to go all the way. Miraculous things happened, like Andy Russell running 93 yards with the Baltimore fumble, and the towel has continued to work its miracles when brought back this season.
That was in January of 1979, leading up to Super Bowl 13 in Miami, and a Steelers rematch with the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm a Steelers fan. I've always been a Steelers fan.
The Cowboys featured a familiar face to Pittsburghers, who, during the build-up, playfully downplayed the terrible towel's existence.
You haven't heard of the terrible towel?
No, I haven't. What the hell is it? The terrible towel. That's a new one. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is.
That's Gorgonzola. Dorsett was in Pittsburgh in '75 when the towel last flew and performed its miracles, and Dorsett just asked me about the towel about a week ago. Well, maybe he's pretending that it doesn't exist, thinking that if he so pretends, the towel will go away and not affect his performance. It's nothing but bravado.
The Steelers went on to beat the Cowboys and claim their third Super Bowl title. Tony Dorsett's dismissal was an early example of what has become known as the curse of the terrible towel. Over the years, opponents have disrespected the towel, only to have it backfire. Like in 2005, when the Bengals' T.J. Houshmandzadeh wiped his feet with the towel. And later that season, the Steelers beat the Bengals in the playoffs on their way to winning the Super Bowl. And in 2008, some members of the Titans stomped and spit on the towel. The top-seeded Titans were then promptly upset in their first playoff game. The Steelers went on to win their 6th Super Bowl. And a season later, during an 0-6 start, Titans head coach Jeff Fisher was left begging for forgiveness.
I need to know about the mystery of this terrible towel because last December, a couple of my knuckleheads stomped on it, and we haven't won a game since. So will you tell the Rooneys that I have one enshrined in my office? I have one hanging in my house, and I'll put one on the prow. I'll do anything I need to do with that towel.
As a gesture and as a way to try and reverse the curse, the Titans sent autographed towels to the Allegheny Valley School, which benefits from sales of the terrible towel. For nearly 5 decades, it has haunted opponents and served as a symbol of the Steelers.
The Steelers had their 12th man in the WTAE radio booth, and the old...
And while many times imitated, the terrible towel, just like its creator, is one of a kind.
This is Myron Cope on sports.